Single dad saved his drunk boss from trouble. The next day, she didn't pretend to forget. Mark wiped down the last conference table of the evening, his mop moving in slow, tired circles across the marble floor of Apex Solutions headquarters. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small moments to change lives, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness True Stories. Also tell us in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? At 41, he had the kind of face that told a story without words. Deep lines around his eyes from too many sleepless nights, calloused hands from years of honest labor, and a quiet dignity that no amount of exhaustion could erase. He had been working as the building's senior custodian for 6 years, and in those 6 years, he had learned one important truth about corporate life. The higher people climbed, the less they noticed the ones who kept their world clean. His daughter Sophie, just 9 years old and already wiser than most adults Mark knew, was waiting for him at home with their neighbor Mrs. Patterson watching over her. Sophie always left a small drawing on the kitchen table for him. A sun, a flower, a stick figure of the two of them holding hands. Those drawings were the reason Mark never quit, no matter how hard the nights became. He thought about her as he pushed his cart toward the elevator, ready to call it a night, when he heard something that stopped him cold. From the executive floor bathroom came a crash, followed by a low moan, followed by the unmistakable sound of someone in serious trouble. Mark hesitated. He was a janitor. The executive floor was not exactly his territory in any social sense, even if it was his responsibility to clean it. But the sound came again, desperate, disoriented, and Mark was not the kind of man who walked past someone in need. He pushed open the bathroom door and found Victoria Harmon, the chief executive officer of Apex Solutions, sitting on the cold tile floor with her back against the wall, her expensive blazer askew, her heels abandoned beside her, and an empty bottle of whiskey nearby that explained everything and nothing at the same time. Victoria Harmon was legendary in the company. She was brilliant, ruthless, and demanded perfection from everyone beneath her. She had once reduced a senior manager to tears in a meeting for a minor spreadsheet error. She did not smile at custodians. She did not acknowledge elevator operators. She was the kind of person who looked through people like Mark rather than at them. But tonight, she was not a CEO. She was just a woman falling apart on a bathroom floor. Mascara streaked down her cheeks, whispering something about a board meeting and her father, and something that had clearly broken inside her long before this bottle was ever opened. Mark knelt beside her without a second thought. He spoke gently, the way he spoke to Sophie when she woke from nightmares. He helped Victoria to her feet, let her lean against him as he guided her to a chair in the empty break room, and made her a strong cup of coffee without being asked. He did not judge her. He did not take photographs. He did not whisper or smirk or make her feel small. He just sat across from her in the quiet, fluorescent light of that break room and let her be human. Victoria talked and Mark listened. She told him about her father's death 2 months ago, news she had shared with no one at work. She told him about the board threatening to remove her because she had refused to approve layoffs of 300 employees right before Christmas. She told him she had been holding it all together, so tightly for so long that tonight something had simply snapped. Mark told her about Sophie. He told her about the drawings on the kitchen table. He told her that his wife had left when Sophie was 2, that he had raised his daughter alone, working double shifts some weeks, that there were nights he sat in his car in the parking lot and cried, so Sophie would never see him break. He told her that surviving hard things did not make you weak. It meant you had been strong for a very long time, without anyone helping you carry the weight. By midnight, Victoria was sober enough to call a car. Mark helped her gather her things. She looked at him at the elevator, really looked at him, perhaps for the first time in 6 years of passing each other in hallways, and said quietly, "Thank you, Mark." He nodded, said goodnight, and went back to finish mopping the floors, because that was his job, and he was a man who finished what he started. He fully expected that by morning, Victoria Harmon would have locked this night away in some private vault inside herself, and they would return to being invisible to each other. That was usually how these things went. He was wrong. The next morning, Mark arrived for his shift and found an envelope in his locker with his name, written in careful handwriting. Inside was a note from Victoria and a card authorizing a significant raise. Backdated 3 months. The note did not gush or over-explain. It said simply, "You treated me like a person when you had no reason to. I know I have not always done the same for you or for others. I intend to change that. If you are ever willing, I would like to hear more about Sophie's drawings." Victoria. Over the weeks that followed, something quiet and genuine began to grow between them. Victoria started noticing people. She greeted the security guards by name. She stopped the layoffs and found another way to satisfy the board. She occasionally left a coffee on the break. Room counter at the hour she knew Mark took his break. No note required. Mark brought a drawing Sophie had made, a sunrise over a city skyline, and left it on Victoria's assistant's desk with a simple message saying it was for her office if she wanted it. She hung it directly behind her desk where she could see it every time she sat down. Their friendship deepened slowly and honestly, built on the rarest foundation. A moment when both had been fully themselves with no performance, no pretense and no walls. By spring, Mark and Sophie had been invited to Victoria's small dinner gathering, and Sophie had declared within 10 minutes of arriving that Victoria was the kind of person who needs more drawings in her life. Victoria had laughed, really laughed, for the first time in longer than she could remember. No one could have predicted that a cold bathroom floor, a broken evening, and a janitor who chose compassion over indifference would become the beginning of something that changed 2 lives completely. But that is the truth about kindness. It does not announce itself. It does not calculate its returns, and it does not wait for the perfect moment. It simply shows up the way Mark did, mop in hand and heart wide open, ready to see the person in front of him for exactly who they were. And sometimes that is everything. If this story moved your heart and reminded you that everyday kindness can change lives in ways we never expect, please show your love and support by giving a big thumbs up, sharing this story with someone who needs to hear it today, and subscribing to Kindness True Stories, so you never miss a story that restores your faith in people. Your support means the world and keeps these beautiful stories alive for everyone who needs them.